Hello everyone! So today is going to be the final video of October. If you've been watching pretty regularly throughout the month, I hope you've enjoyed it this far. I hope that you've enjoyed the abundance of content, because I know that September was extremely slow. November will probably also be a bit slow, not as slow as September, but I'm going to try to get back into uploading 3 to 4 times a week like I had been before I took my break to do all of my pre-filming for October. But we're going to end the month off with the case of Jaliek Rainwalker. I know this case has also been done quite a lot. The last time I ever listened to anything about this case, it was a video here on YouTube by Savannah Brimer. And I was watching her videos not that long ago, and I rewatched Jaliek's video, and I decided I wanted to talk about Jaliek as well, because it's still an unsolved case. So all the links that I used for research will be down below, and I'm going to go ahead and get into this. So, at the time, Jaliek was only 12 years old, and he was living with his adopted family in Greenwich, New York, when he would disappear. He was known as a strong and vivacious boy who loved to play music and go apple picking. He did have a challenging home life. He went between 6 different foster homes before he was finally adopted by Stephen Kerr and Jocelyn McDonald. So he was finally getting the stability that he needed when his parents decided to put him into respite care. So, Jaliek was picked up from respite care on November 1st, 2007 by Stephen Kerr and sent to another respite home. So they drove to Jaliek's adoptive paternal grandparents' house, who weren't present at the time, to stay over since it was closer to the new respite home that he would be going to. That night, Jaliek would vanish, and Stephen would wake up to find a note. And this note would read, "Dear everybody, I am sorry for everything. I won't be a bother anymore. Goodbye, Jaliek." And that was left on the kitchen table. Police would confirm that it was in Jaliek's handwriting. And you might be thinking, okay, so Jaliek ran away. Well, let's get into why it's a little bit fishy. Stephen didn't contact police right away. No. First, he took a shower, and then he did some errands. Don't you think that's a little weird if your adopted son goes missing, this 12-year-old boy just vanished in the middle of the night? Regardless if you're thinking, oh, he'll just come back, shouldn't you be a little bit worried? I don't know about you, but if that happened to me, I'm not taking a shower. That's not going to be on my mind. I'm definitely not doing errands. I'm calling the police first thing and having them look for my child. But let's continue on. So, police would soon learn that Stephen wasn't home the entire night, like he was saying he was. And surveillance footage would actually later show him driving around midnight, despite him saying that he was at his parents' the entire evening. It would be hours later when he would finally report Jaliek missing. So, his behavior is just very, very odd. And that's definitely going to play into how people view him. 3 months after Jaliek went missing, the family would actually leave their home in New York and move over the state line into Vermont. Police would continue to search the heavily wooded areas and would receive several tips from all over the country. Around the time the family moved, law enforcement announced that Stephen Kerr was a person of interest, and they have never announced another individual that has been similarly identified as a person of interest. It's just been Stephen. And Stephen acknowledged in the weeks after Jaliek's disappearance that he understood how he could be viewed as a prime suspect. He acknowledged that he acted a little weird, but he denied hurting Jaliek. He said that law enforcement was just harassing his family based on no evidence. But, like I said earlier, his behavior and his statements that he made in the aftermath were quite erratic. And it's kind of why the public already has this perception of him that he's a little sus. So, according to a previous foster family, Jaliek was prone to angry outbursts. Barbara Reilly, Jocelyn's estranged mom, said in October 2007, weeks before he disappeared, Jaliek had gotten in trouble with his homeschool group after he allegedly made a sexually explicit comment to another kid who was annoying him. Because of this, Jocelyn would bar Jaliek from the home, and he and Stephen would be forced to live separately from the rest of the family at Stephen's parents' home in the village. Obviously, we don't know if that's actually true, if he actually did that or not. I don't know, if I'm going to be completely honest, if I would believe anything these people would have to say anyway. But the reason why I'm bringing up the angry outbursts is because of what I'm going to tell you basically right now. So, Jaliek had been attending a program in which homeschool children would get together to study and do extracurricular activities as a way to replace traditional schooling. I don't know if it's because he has those angry outbursts, or he just has like a really heavy home life, that he's not in traditional schooling. He has to do it another way. So, in the weeks after his disappearance, police said that they realized, or they found out, that Stephen and Jocelyn had started paperwork to unwind his adoption, which is a move that would legally cut all ties with Jaliek and send him back into the foster care system. So, that's another reason, like I said, why I brought up his angry outbursts, because it seems like maybe he'd been having them maybe regularly, and they realized maybe that they couldn't handle him, or he was too much for them to take care of at the time. So they adopted him, realized he was too much, and were going to place him back in foster care. So they had already started this. I think they had started it either right after he disappeared or right before. But it was after he disappeared, in the weeks after, that the police said that they had realized that they had started doing paperwork to do that, which I think is just fucked up. First, they move out of their home, which Jaliek knows is in Greenwich, across the state lines, and then they quietly start the paperwork to unwind the adoption when he's still missing. Like, it's disgusting. Like, if he's found, he's not going to go back to them. He's just going to go back to the foster care system. Like, these people are so disgusting. They're out of touch, really. Like, I can't imagine you not liking this child so much that you act like this. It's just weird, and it's just weird to me. So, the case started as a missing persons case, and it has since been reclassified to a probable homicide. There have never been any confirmed remains that have ever been found, and no one has faced charges in the case. If you have information, you are urged to contact the Cambridge Greenwich Police Department at 518-692-9332. Again, the Cambridge Greenwich Police is 518-692-9332. So let's talk about Jaliek. I think you kind of know where I'm feeling, where I think it happened. Personally, I think that Jocelyn and Stephen wanted to be these saviors, and so they stepped in to adopt Jaliek, realized that they didn't have the means to take care of him, or his whatever made him have these angry outbursts. Um, if he had like some sort of illness or whatever, they realized that they weren't equipped to deal with that, and they're like, oh, he's not going to be able to stay with us. And I'm thinking in my head that I think one day Jaliek had an angry outburst, and Stephen couldn't handle it. Maybe Stephen and Jocelyn, they just couldn't deal with it. So they snap, you're going back. You're going back to another respite home. And I think they stop at Stephen's parents' house when they're not there, because I think, allegedly, in my opinion, that Stephen has some sort of plan to make him vanish. Because we already know he wasn't home the entire night, like he said. Why would he lie about that? You know? Why would he lie about that if you didn't do anything wrong? So I think he already had a plan. Whether it was to take him back to that respite home or not, or to do something at the parents' house. And I think Stephen came up with a way to make Jaliek vanish. And then I think he was leaving at midnight to dispose of whatever it was that he had done, whether that was of Jaliek or of something connected to what he did to Jaliek. And then we know the note was in Jaliek's handwriting. Maybe he forced him to write that note. Maybe he was threatening him. And then he already knew the note was going to be there when he got up. So he went about his day as usual. He knew that Jaliek wasn't missing, supposedly, allegedly. And I think he took a shower. He did his errands because Jaliek's not coming back to him. And I think he just didn't care. And I think that's what happened. And I think that the family has basically gone away with it all these years. That is what I think happened. And, maybe Jaliek did just run away. Even though it's already been reclassified as a probable homicide, let's say he did run away. He wrote that note, he ran off. It's the fact that Stephen didn't try to call the cops immediately or even try to look himself. It's the fact that he lied to police about where he was all night. And it's the fact that his family started to unwind the adoption after his adopted child has gone missing and then they move. It's almost like they know Jaliek isn't coming back. Because why wouldn't you stay? You know what I'm saying? It's because they know he wasn't coming back. That's what I think. But let's just say there's just a lot of unanswered questions. And I feel like it's so obvious what happened. But for whatever reason, they just don't have what they need to arrest who they think it is. I'm sure we all think it is, or at least most of us. I mean, yeah, he could have ran off, but I don't think that's what happened. I really don't. I think allegedly Stephen did something to him to make him vanish, and that's why the family was acting that way, because they knew he wasn't coming back. So, what do you guys think happened? Do you think it was Stephen? Do you think Jocelyn knew? Do you think the family knows what happened to him? Do you think he was just going to take him back to the respite home and then maybe he had an outburst on the way there and Stephen snapped and decided to do it then? Do you think it was all a plan the entire time? What do you think happened to Jaliek? Please let me know down below, but please, please, please be respectful. Because you never know who's going to come across this video. There are people that cared deeply for and still care deeply for Jaliek. In the articles I was reading, I saw a lot of comments from previous foster families that loved him to death, and I don't want them to come across this video and there be really nasty comments, so please just be kind down below. And like I said, my theory about Stephen and Jocelyn and all of them, it's alleged, because they've never obviously been arrested for anything in this case, so all of it's just alleged. But yeah, like I said, let me know what you think down below. I will see you guys sometime in November. I hope you enjoyed all the videos this month. Well, that's kind of weird to say because they weren't the best in terms of what they were about. I hope you enjoyed how much of it there was, because I know I had been kind of slow on it recently. And yeah, I can't wait to see y'all next time. Bye, guys.